Welcome back to Foot in Mouth. We've got a new English Premier League season fast approaching, and it all starts with the usual FA Community Shield. And it's not a game that most of us get excited about, although I do feel and have felt that it does deserve a little bit more respect from us football fans. And today we're going to be speaking about that. I will be doing a prediction for the game as well, so you guys can jump in the comments with your predictions for the game. I'm pretty sure it's going to be majority Liverpool, but look, football being football, there's every chance that Crystal Palace can pull off a worldie, just like they did last season when they beat Man City for the FA Cup. Something like that could happen again in the Community Shield, and it is Crystal Palace's first ever Community Shield game, which I think is crazy on its own. Whenever I see these games being played, I just assume that either club has a handful of these Community Shield in their cabinet already. But no, this is going to be Palace's first ever attempt at it after they won their first ever trophy in the club's history last season with the FA Cup. It's at least their first ever major trophy. Maybe they've won some pre-season silverware here and there. But yeah, they won their first ever FA Cup. That's what got them here. Liverpool, obviously, Arne Slot won the league in his first season. It's not a good look for the league, but it is also testament to just how good a job that man has done in his first season. This will be the first ever look at like what I would consider to be a genuine Arne Slot Liverpool side, though. Some key players are missing. We've obviously got new fullbacks. No more Trent, no more Robertson at the back. We've got a new striker in Ekitike. Could have been Alexander Isaac for this fixture. I'm pretty sure Crystal Palace and the rest of the Premier League fans who don't support Liverpool are happy that's not the case just yet. Window's still open. Anything could still happen. But yeah, and then of course there was the very tragic passing of Diogo Jota and his brother a while ago. That means that from top to bottom, a lot about this Liverpool team is very different. It's going to be very interesting to see how they handle the first competitive game of a new season. And I think there's a lot to look forward to. Definitely a lot to look forward to. But look, we'll start off with the competition itself. Yeah, it's disrespected, man. I think, and again, I've been guilty of this. I think it doesn't get enough respect. Firstly, it's a charitable cause. I think anybody can relate to wanting to support charity, especially charities that actively do make a difference and a visible difference. So when it comes to the Community Shield, what a lot of people may not know is that every club that played in the FA Cup last season, throughout all the rounds of the competition, as far as I'm aware, even the small like Division 3 clubs, they all get money. They all get a bit of the money that is made at the stadium through ticket sales and whatnot, and they can all donate that money to charities of their choosing. So this game makes a big difference, and we should kind of put a lot more respect on it, in my opinion, because the more attention that you draw to it, the more tickets get sold, which means the more foundations get help. It also, a lot of the proceeds, whatever is left over, will go towards things around the community like grassroots football. And I know that doesn't affect every viewer because these clubs obviously have fans from all around the world, but I think that it goes a long way to have support and show that support in some way to institutions that do actually see to this stuff, because a little difference can make a lot of change. And yeah, I think for that reason alone, this competition deserves a bit more respect. It's also over 100 years old, and it's traditional. And I think those things do still mean something, especially in today's world of football. I think something like tradition kind of needs to be stressed a little bit more. Competitions like this and what they stand for are a big part of what makes football such a good sport. Is that community element. It's that charitable element, I guess, because there's a lot of money in the sport. So to see them give back when they can, I think is a good thing. So yeah, I think that this competition matters. And you can disagree with me in the comments below, or you can agree with me in the comments below. I would be very curious to know how you guys feel about it. But yeah, there's just a few tidbits, especially obviously all correlating to the charitable side of things, which I think inherently we should all just support. I think it should be the easiest thing to support. Obviously, it doesn't mean much to the football fan because you can't exactly brag about winning the FA Community Shield. It's a nice looking shield, but it's not one of the major pieces of silverware, which is all anybody seems to care about these days. I'm looking forward to this game, especially considering the two teams that are in it. I think Liverpool looked fantastic last season. They basically won the league at a canter. They've had a pretty decent preseason, as far as I've been able to see from the outside looking in. The new signings have been bedded into the squad quite nicely. Florian Wirtz looks good. Ekitike looks good. Yeah, especially the youngsters as well. Liverpool got some. I think the Premier League are kind of going to be spoiled next season with the young talent that's on display. Obviously, we know about the Arsenal youngsters from last season. Max Daumann, though, coming through in pre-season looking real good. Chelsea have a handful of young, exciting players. Estevao, however you say his name, saw him at the Club World Cup. Dude looks really good. So yeah, I think Liverpool are going to field a very exciting team. Crystal Palace, not so different to what we saw last season, but what we saw last season was a team that works. And what we've seen in this preseason so far, that team is still working. So I think it's going to be a fairly evenly matched, is a crazy way to put it, but I think it's an evenly matched game. Crystal Palace will be very spurred on by that FA Cup win. I think a FA Community Shield to them means a lot more than it does to Liverpool. I think Liverpool have probably at least 12 of them in the cabinet. And again, Liverpool do have their sights set on bigger prizes, understandably so. They just won the league. But I do also think that this game is very, very big for Liverpool and Arne Slot, because they kind of set in the pace here. I think they're coming into the next season as everybody's favourites. If they aren't your favourites, I need some of whatever you're smoking, because you look at the team that they had last season, you look at how they've built on that team this season, they look primed to take it again. So I think a lot of scrutiny, especially, again, coming to the current climate of football, even in a Community Shield game, disappointing performances going to come under crazy scrutiny. Preseason friendly games kind of come under scrutiny now, which I think is just well over the top. But yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure on Liverpool in this game, which there shouldn't be if you're looking at the big picture. But there is a lot of pressure on them for this game. It's the first competitive game of football that we've seen since the end of last season, the official end of last season. And for both of these clubs, that was a while ago. So it's going to be a very tough one, I think, for both of them. But I just think, yeah, you've got to say that Palace wanted more. Palace are going to want it more. But on the downside, there's a lot of uncertainty around some key players there. We look at someone like Eberechi Eze, who I think is the key player for Crystal Palace going into this game. He's the one that got them the FA Cup win last season. He's obviously been very, very linked with Arsenal in recent times. Some reports even saying that he's telling close friends and family that he's going to be playing for Arsenal. So a lot of uncertainty there. There's uncertainty around Mark Guehi, who is obviously linked with Liverpool. So this is a bit of an audition for him, maybe. He's a very impressive player already, but again, we don't know where their headspaces are going to be at right now. I think even Mateta is being linked to the move away. And Mateta and Eze have looked quite good in preseason, by the way. The little dynamic between the two of them looks as switched on as ever. So there are key players. There are players at Crystal Palace that can upset Liverpool. And in recent years, the head-to-head isn't very much telling in terms of how to set it apart. It's been a win for Liverpool, win for Palace, some draws. So it's not that these clubs always have a guaranteed outcome. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think there's a lot going on in this game. You've got to look at Liverpool as the favourites. It has to be said. I feel like with the team that Liverpool kind of put together now, even with their B team, they could probably beat Crystal Palace on their best day, which is sad to say. And again, I've been proven wrong on that just in the fact that Palace beat Man City last season, although it was a terrible Man City as well. But that being said, yeah, I think the Liverpool team are too good. I think they are... Dude, they're going to be so interesting this season. I wonder how much of Klopp's DNA Slot's going to keep in the team. Last season, it was still very much that heavy metal rock and roll style football. I'd be curious to see if that takes a little bit of a backseat this season around. Maybe he wants to go for something a little bit more structural. But yeah, this game is going to be very telling. And for Liverpool, I think the key man to watch out for is, ironically, not Mo Salah this time. I think it's Florian Wirtz. I think nothing is going to happen at Liverpool this season without Florian Wirtz having a say in it. I think this dude is an absolute brilliant player. When we get into our overall season predictions and whatnot, I am tipping him to be a signing of the season, not just because of the fee. But yeah, I think Florian Wirtz, even in pre-season, has impressed already. It's a game that I think is low enough pressure in the grand scheme of things for them to kind of play their game, have a comfortable run of it. But I think that these players are also very determined at Liverpool. And I think that they are going to want to prove a point as early on as possible. And like I said, set the pace, set the benchmark, because it's going to be all eyes on this game. Every other club in the league is going to be watching this game. All the managers, all the coaches are going to be watching this game, because it can be telling of how a team is going to play throughout the season. It's obviously not the be-all and end-all, although historically, and I do like my statistics and my bits of history in terms of outcomes, historically, the winner of the Community Shield does always do better in the league than the loser of the Community Shield. So if Crystal Palace win this, we could have a whole new Premier League champion next season. It looks obviously not going to happen, and there have been times where it hasn't happened before, namely 2020, I think it was, when Arsenal beat Liverpool for the Community Shield, and we still ended up finishing well below them that season. But I think that this game means something. I think it's a lot for the morale. I think it's a lot for the confidence. You start your league off with a trophy. I think it's a big lift to any fan base. You know, you're going into the season on a high. So I think there's a lot to it. I think prediction-wise, as much as the football fan in me wants to say Crystal Palace, you know, just for the romance of it all, I feel like that'd be a brilliant outcome. I do think that Liverpool, even if they aren't actively trying their best to get it, maybe Slot wants to play some 4D chess and kind of throw this game to put a bit of the Premier League rivals off, you know what I mean? But I don't see that happening. I think that Liverpool are very ambitious, even on their laziest days, and they're going to play to win this, as they should. So I'm going to give it to Liverpool. I'm going to say Liverpool are going to win this 3-1. I'm going to say 3-1. I hope Crystal Palace give them a bit more of a fight and put up more of a fight in general, because I think they've got it in them. You know, Man City will be the first to tell you that. But I can't look past Liverpool. I think Liverpool have looked dominant as ever in pre-season. Again, from the outside looking in. But yeah, Crystal Palace, all due respect to them. I hope they prove me wrong. But I'm going to say Liverpool win this 3-1. And I think you're going to see some debut goals. 100% for Liverpool. I think Ekitike gets a debut goal. I think Wirtz gets a debut goal. And then Salah probably wraps it up. So that's my prediction. Let me know your predictions for this game in the comments below. And then, yeah, next week we'll be speaking about the actual season coming up. I'm going to have a look at how other clubs have been doing in their pre-seasons, how their new signings have been performing so far. And we've obviously also got the Fantasy League back up. The FPL is back and running. I think you should automatically just be back in it if you were in the league last season already. If not, I'll put the code for the competition on the screen now, and then you guys can join whenever you're ready. Ethan has won it back-to-back now. This has got to stop. He literally played it for the first time ever 2 seasons ago, and now he's won it in his first 2 seasons ever. Someone's got to put a stop to him, and it's definitely not going to be me based on last season. Last season, I was in a relegation battle, and may that not ever happen again. But yeah, for now, thank you guys for watching the show. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a like. If you do want to see more content, please give a subscribe to the channel. And again, let me know in the comments below your predictions, what you think about the Community Shield in general, you know. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.